What I'm about to reveal will change how you play Modern Warfare 4's DMZ mode on day 1. Modern Warfare 4's DMZ is not just an extraction shooter, it is a secret second campaign and extended story of the Modern Warfare 4 campaign. So we're going to explore what's going on in DMZ and what the story is. It begins with Vladimir Makarov. After the Modern Warfare 3 seasonal story, it appears that he was forced off of Rebirth Island by Shadow Company, and all the advanced weapon research that he was doing there is no longer viable and he can't do anything with it anymore. After losing an entire island, he appears to sell that technology and that information to North Korea. Now, this is where Vladimir Makarov kind of steps out of the picture, but North Korea steps in. North Korea has been secretly developing experimental military technology for a couple of years on the North Korean-South Korean border. And they weren't doing it alone. It appears that Russia has fed them help, designs, and technology in order to kind of help push their movement forward. And the development specifically happened in facilities on the North Korean side of the border of a city called Haejin. Now, Haejin sits right on the border between North Korea and South Korea, really the fault line in the actual real-world DMZ. But Haejin itself is hugely important to the narrative story of Modern Warfare 4 and DMZ specifically. There's a nuclear reactor on the kind of northwestern area of the city of Haejin. On the North Korean side of the border, they have been building experimental weapons technology in underground facilities, reinforcing their military structure and building their manufacturing center for their invasion out of this area. And for a lot of the characters of the Modern Warfare 4 campaign, Haejin is the city they grew up in, their hometown, and it's quite literally being invaded in the very first mission of Modern Warfare 4 by North Korea. North Korea has been manufacturing and experimenting with this weapons technology alongside the aid of Russia. It appears that Russia is trying to help them out, trying to push them into this conflict with South Korea, and eventually it works. North Korea begins a full-on invasion of South Korea, and the first thing to fall is the city of Haejin. Then from there, the invasion spreads outward, and over the course of the Modern Warfare 4 campaign, the border lines are redrawn a couple times, but ultimately, the end of the Modern Warfare 4 campaign, as we're told by developers, really sees the border being redrawn to the area where North Korea initially invaded. They have control of the city of Haejin. Control might be a bit of a strong word. We found out that the developers have named all of the missions for Modern Warfare 4, and the second to last mission of Modern Warfare 4 is called Meltdown. Now, Keeley, they've also told us that DMZ in Haejin takes place after a nuclear reactor has a meltdown outside the city on the North Korean side of the border. It has forced an evacuation and people no longer live in Haejin itself. The nuclear reactor is exposing radiation to the entire area, and so North Korea and South Korea both kind of evacuated the point after this nuclear reactor meltdown. From what I would guess, just based on my knowledge about Call of Duty stories, Captain Price probably melts down this nuclear reactor in order to stop the weapons manufacturing and experimentation of military technology by North Korea. It puts an end to the war today, kind of like what he did in Modern Warfare 2 by launching the nuclear missiles at the Russian fleet in the Atlantic. It would put an end to the war, it would stop North Korea's invasion of South Korea, and more importantly, it removes all of their advanced weapon technology and forces them to fight on South Korea's terms. Now, I think that's what's going to happen, but let's go back into what's going on with DMZ specifically. So after this nuclear meltdown, we have been told that DMZ will pick up the story of after the Modern Warfare 4 campaign. Now, Haejin has been evacuated, it has been left alone for a couple months, and slowly North Korea has been sending troops back in to reclaim the city. Haejin is under their control, but control, again, is a strong word. They have military lieutenants controlling different sectors, they have roaming commanders, and they are trying to get all of their hidden technology and experimental weapons out of the city of Haejin to begin manufacturing them somewhere else. But as North Korea begins to go back into the city of Haejin to get their advanced technology and their military weaponry, other interested parties start looking into it too. A Russian faction called Resmeza starts looking in, CIA starts looking in, Shadow Company, everyone is trying to get their hands on a piece of this experimental weapon technology in order to further their own cause. Now think about this. The technology that North Korea has enabled them to start a full-on invasion of South Korea, and over the events of the Modern Warfare 4 campaign, take huge amounts of territory. We're not talking about an advancement in a single weapon, we're talking about weaponry that could shift the balance of an entire battlefield and an entire war in one person's favor. Whoever gets their hands on this technology first. Now, the CIA has been seeing all of this unfold. They see what happens in North Korea, they see the nuclear meltdown, and they see that the North Koreans are trying to reclaim their old military technology. And so in order to stop this, they send in their own CIA contractors. Specifically, Ghost seemingly is one of the main contractors who's being sent in order to get a hold of their military technology and stop the North Koreans. But there's a little bit more to the story. It appears that these CIA contractors who are operating in the city of Hyjin are not solely devoted to the CIA. They are willing to work with multiple factions, they are willing to get technology out as long as it gives them an upper hand so they can go back into Hyjin and get better technology, better information. Some people, like I presume Ghost is, are fighting on the side of justice. They want to get the technology out and get it into the right hands. Other people, like Velikan or some of the North Korean operators you can play as, are probably not doing it for the right reasons. They're probably doing it because they want to give military technology to whoever pays them the most. This is like an old-fashioned gold rush, but we're talking about advanced military technology. Everyone wants a piece of what is going on in Hyjin. Now, the Hyjin story itself will evolve via 3 important routes. So the first is story and faction missions. These are specific story and faction missions. They're going to advance the narrative of Modern Warfare 4 into DMZ. They're going to expand the story to push you further into what's going on in Hyjin and try to get you to explore more of the city. These are really going to be the main story beats for what's going on in DMZ. Then there's replayable missions. These have really nothing to do with the story because they're just randomized. Different enemies, complications, and extraction routes every game. There are different options to give you a chance to just kind of build up your experience with the game. But importantly, achievement missions. Now, achievement missions are this kind of sweet spot between replayable and story missions. They're going to give you small little nuggets of story and lore information, but they're not going to really impact the main narrative. They're not going to affect what's going on. It'll be more along the lines of, here's a vault in a casino, go break into it and get the information out. And this will kind of give you some more narrative information. It'll kind of expand bits of the story, but it won't be on that main narrative track that we're seeing with DMZ. So really, faction and story missions will advance the narrative, and achievement missions will give you different opportunities to see other little bits of Hyjin and kind of give you more important narrative information about the universe and what's going on. And when you look at the whole picture, Modern Warfare 4's campaign really sets up the big narrative story of what's going to happen with Modern Warfare 4, and DMZ takes it a step further. What happens after the campaign is over? What happens to the city of Hyjin and the North Korean conflict? Because it doesn't end in the Modern Warfare 4 campaign, it continues on. And DMZ is going to explore that and seemingly wrap up the Modern Warfare universe that has been rebooted since 2019. Modern Warfare 4, from my understanding, is the last Modern Warfare game in the rebooted universe, and DMZ is going to wrap up the story and lead us into whatever this next chapter or possibly next game that Infinity Ward is making. But if you want to know the story of Modern Warfare 4, what's going on, what everything I've discovered is, click on this video here, and until next time, I am IceBurgz. Stay frosty.